There we go. Here we go for another first impression BJJ episode. Today I have one of another student of mine, Matt Drost. So at first I want him to introduce a little bit of himself. There you
Yeah,
go.
absolutely. Absolutely. My name's Matt. I'm 29 years old. Currently live in Cambridge, Ontario with my fiance and my 9-month-old border collie. I've been training at Cambridge BJJ since February of 2020, I believe. I think that's when I started with you guys.
I think so. Yeah, February. Yes,
Yeah.
something like that. Yes.
Um,
You
I'm,
trained, you
I'm,
trained before that, right?
yes, I trained in Port Elgin at Top Performance.
Okay, there you go. So,
Uh,
but how long you training there before you switch over?
Um, I probably a year consistently, probably
A
3 to 4 days a week. Yeah.
Oh, pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, I can definitely see. I saw that whenever you start training at the gym, I saw that you had like some experience prior, like comparing to the guys that I had already. Like as a white belt. I mean, but what do you do for living, Matt?
I am an Ontario Disability Support Program caseworker.
Okay, what
I
what
work.
that means? Okay, what that means?
So essentially, we help um, low-income individuals. So either they have a mental or physical disability. We help them with their finances. We help them obtain jobs.
Okay, okay. So it's basically people get to you to get that help. It's not something that you go after. They come to you and then you help them like to get. So you help them to get jobs or something with the how is it to get jobs, right?
A little bit of both. So
Okay.
when someone has exhausted all other financial assistance, we're kind of the last resort.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So say for instance, you had a back injury, you weren't able to work anymore, and you went through all of their social assistances.
Okay.
People come to us, and we kind of help with their finances and kind of get them on their feet.
Until they can get back to whatever they were before, or how is it?
Sometimes they're on. So it's Ontario Disability Support Program, so ODSP for short. So some people that go on ODSP are on it for life. Some people could be on it for a couple of years. They could be on it for a little bit and then end up getting employment down the road and then not need us
Uh-huh.
anymore. So it just kind
I-
of varies.
Is this like pretty much like the WSIB? Like when people get hurt, they go to WSIB so they get that support until pretty
Yeah,
much something
similar.
like that, right? Similar.
Yeah, similar to that. Yeah.
I get it. I get it. Yeah, it's I've seen I had some friends that actually, had some problem doing construction and then the guy got hurt and then you go there, apply for those stuff and then you keep getting like your actual income while you can work, right?
hmm
That's what I believe about. Awesome. That sounds good. You think how is it? It's stressful, gives you a lot of a lot of,
it's like any other job. You've got the pros and the cons. Being in a pandemic right now, there's a lot of people that are kind of nervous, anxious with what's going on, and they're kind of stressed out. So you kind of have to work with the clients, work them through the problems, and just kind of ease them through the transition, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I get it. Lately, everybody's stressed, so then that's end up getting to you too, right? Like people want to solve stuff, and then they come, and then you. I have seen through telemarketing, right? When people call you, sometimes you stressed, and then you don't want to talk to the person, but sometimes people want to just sell you stuff. But in your case, it's different. They have to actually talk to you so you can get through their stuff that they need, right?
hmm And it's again with the pandemic, there's a lot of people that are lacking patience. They want things immediately, but it seems like we've got to take a step back, and everything's kind of a bit slower. Like for instance, the grocery store, we have to line up now.
Exactly.
Before the pandemic, you just walk and grab your stuff and leave. So it's
Exactly.
just
Exactly. It is. Everything is kind of have like a different approach now, right?
mm,
I get
one
it.
one day at a time.
Exactly. So what's the gym you said you trained before? Top
Top
performance?
performance, yes.
Awesome. So how was it there? How was like the training? Like this is the place where you started training, right?
Mhm.
So how was it? Like how was the approach and when you started? How was like top performance for you at the beginning?
It was great. I never thought of going into jujitsu.
Uh-huh.
For me, I grew up watching UFC, and I loved the striking. I loved boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, all that. Um, so I joined this. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago. Um, I was I was working at a bar. I was head of security. Had 5 years of bar experience. Never got to a fight.
Okay.
My philosophy was 90% verbal, 10% physical. So
Uh-huh.
I would verbally de-escalate any situation, no problems at all.
Verbally.
Um, one weekend I had off. A couple of buddies wanted to go to the bar, so
Uh-huh.
we ended up going to a friend's house to pre-drink. Went to the bar. I think we stayed there till 2 or 3 a.m. and decided to walk home. And we're in a small town. It was probably half an hour walk, so we decided to walk. Two of our friends left their bikes at this house we pre-drank at,
Uh-huh.
so they went to get the bikes and meet up with us. While we were walking, our buddies, there was two of us, myself, and then there was two buddies that went to get the bike.
Okay.
So they met up with us, and they said there was a couple of guys following them, yelling at them. Didn't think anything of it, and we see these guys in the distance starting to approach, and they're yelling and they're screaming, and then they start charging at my buddies and they start punching them in the face. So it ends up we got jumped. So I just remember I kind of froze at first because I didn't it didn't seem real. It felt like a movie.
Uh-huh.
So they're all fighting, fist fighting, and I ended up, because I watched UFC, I kind of put somebody in a rear naked choke. Didn't know what I was doing, but I slipped my hands around them and I put my legs around their waist.
Uh-huh.
And I just remember yelling, "Are we done? Are we done?" And I let him up because he said like he couldn't breathe and he just said he
Yeah.
was done fighting. So he got up, and my buddy's girlfriend was with us and she was crying, and we found out these guys actually punched her in the face a couple of times.
Jesus Christ.
So my buddy got pissed, and we ended up chasing them back to their house. And my buddy was kind of defending his girlfriend, so he ends up fighting the guy that punched her in the face.
Uh-huh.
Um, Everything was fine. We were done. Like they kind of settled their differences, and he didn't want to leave because he forgot his hat. So we stopped to look around for his hat, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a guy with a baseball bat. And
Uh-huh.
because I thought everything was done, I looked down and I got clocked in the face and knocked out.
Y- On you. You
Yeah, yeah. I was helping look for the hat, and then all of a sudden I get hit with the baseball bat, and I just remember waking up because my buddies were dragging me because I guess even though I was unconscious, I still wanted to fight because I was
uh-huh.
just frustrated that I got
Yeah.
hit. So I remember going back to my buddy's house, covered in blood,
So you
and
didn't see where this was coming. You just boom got knocked out.
yeah, I saw it in the corner of my eye, but I didn't think anything of it. Like
Uh-huh.
I said, because they said we were done, we were done. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna look for this hat. We're gonna be done. Like, let's leave.
Yeah.
Got hit. I went to my buddy's house, and I didn't want to go home because my dad, if he knew that happened, he would chase people around the town to kind of he beat
I
the
get
crap out
that.
of them.
Yeah.
So I ended up going home, sneaking downstairs, and I come upstairs the next morning. It's probably 10 or 11 in the morning, and I'm kind of covering my face, and I have my head in the refrigerator. My mom's like, "Why are you acting weird?" So I close the refrigerator. My side of my face is just swollen. I've got blood all over my shirt. And I remember my dad taking me to the hospital, and I found out I had a concussion.
Yeah.
So after that, I felt so weak and defenseless, and I didn't want that to happen again.
I get it.
And I looked around the area for some sort of martial arts. So I did a little bit of kickboxing back in high
But
school.
at that time, like you said, you watching UFC, you knew already what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was, right?
Mm.
Okay.
But growing up, it wasn't. It was kind of the guys that I hung around. Brazilian Jiu Jitsu was lame because you're rolling around with other guys. Like the striking was more preferred. So
Uh-huh.
I assumed that I would never want to roll on the ground. Like I want to strike. I want to strike. So I looked around. I lived in Port Elgin at this time, and I looked around.
Oh, okay. So you didn't live in Cambridge. Okay, I get
No,
it.
no, no. Sorry. Yeah, I was in Port Elgin at this
Yeah.
time, and I was looking around to see if there's a martial arts gym, and Top Performance just happened to open up.
Okay.
So I messaged. His name's Jesse Top, the owner.
Sure.
Messaged him, and he had kickboxing, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and I think he was CrossFit at the time.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, hey, I'd like to sign up for kickboxing. And he says, oh, sorry, man. The class is canceled tonight, but why don't you come up for Brazilian Jiu Jitsu? And like, I don't know. He's like, come on, man. Like, it'll be a great time. It'll be a great time. So I ended up going that night, and I absolutely loved it.
Okay, there you go. So one, or you just went for one class and you end up like liking right away. So how was your first class? Like how did they treat like what I mean by that is whenever they said, "Oh, no Muay Thai, so come and try jiu-jitsu." How was your mind like going for that? You like you had your mindset for maybe Muay Thai or kickboxing, whatever, right? You know what? I want to learn how to strike because maybe it would be a better reaction if something happened, right? Of course, that a lot of people thinks that, and not saying
Mhm.
that it's wrong, a wrong thought, because out of nowhere you can get just punched and your jiu-jitsu is not going to work for anything. I'm not saying that jiu-jitsu is the best. Jiu-jitsu is a great martial arts, one of the best martial arts, even not the best, but it has its cons too, right? You can definitely get hit out of nowhere, and then people are gonna look to you and say, "Hey man, where's your black belt?" Why you didn't kick the guy's ass or whatever, because we don't know. I'm sure that some situations we cannot use jiu-jitsu, you cannot use Muay Thai, kickbox, whatever, situations like that. You just got hit and then boom, knocked out. What are you gonna use? Nothing, you know. But anyways, how was it like when you got the no for kickboxing and you say, "Oh, there is jiu-jitsu here. No kickboxing, but jiu-jitsu." What was the thought like going to class?
I was kind of bummed out at first, but at the same time, the way I felt being unconscious and just feeling that vulnerable, I needed to do something. I wanted to learn some sort of self-defense because I don't want that to happen to me ever again. And if there like I wasn't looking for training to go out and look for fights. I wanted to be prepared that if something ever happened again, I could defend myself properly.
No, definitely. I get it.
So, like I said, I was bummed at first, but then I just went in with an open mind. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to see what it's about and just take it from there.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. In during this time, like you said, you working as in bar, right? Not as a, how to say, bouncer, right? Just in the bar.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
bouncer.
oh, it
Yeah,
was a bouncer. There you
yeah,
go.
yeah. I say security because it sounds more professional, but
Uh-huh.
ultimately I was a bouncer. Yeah.
Okay, but so during those times, you never did you have any fight that end up bad or not?
Nope. Like I verbally de-escalated everything. Even when someone wanted to fight me, I managed to diffuse the situation. Just explain to them that if you hit me, I'm probably going to hit you back, and then you're going to end up going to jail because I'm defending myself at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And
And
I
you're
just said,
working. Plus, you're working.
yeah. And I
Yeah,
just said, don't ruin your night. Come back. Like if it's Saturday, come back another night. Like you may be drunk right now. Come back another night. Like you don't have to ruin your weekend.
exactly, exactly. But how was it like most of the times you always de-escalate like that, right? People are
Mhm.
fine, and I'm sure that some drunk guys would be like, trying to make your day go bad, but end up like, I know the nights are like crazy. Anywhere in the world, like when people work as a bouncer and stuff, you expect a lot of stuff, right? But it's good to have that conversation, and then you can bring the problem down without moving one finger, right?
Absolutely.
But anyways, coming back to the feeling of the martial arts, when you went there and you did the class, how was it?
I had a blast. I think we did a warm up. Um, Shrimping, I felt like a fish out of water. Had no idea what I was doing, but they were very patient with me and kind of worked me through it. Did a technique. I think we did arm bars that day, and then we rolled. And I enjoyed rolling. I got smashed the first time. Didn't know what I was doing. I did a little bit of wrestling in high school, so I just kind of powered through to everything and kind of did some single
Pressed
leg
out some guys,
takedowns.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. A lot of people in America, like in North America, that's the difference. Like you got you guys have good reactions because of the wrestling. A lot of kids here, like a lot of kids do the wrestling at school and then they stop, they don't do any other martial arts. And then when they're adults, they go and try martial arts. It's like, oh, and they have good reaction. I'm like, oh, you actually have some good like movement. Oh, I did 3 years of wrestling, 4 years of wrestling at school and stuff. And that's good. That gives you a natural reactions. And that's all we need for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. When people I see that. That's my opinion. When I see people that has good reactions, and I'm like, okay, so this guy come here, like I'm gonna put these guys. I partner up them with people that would be a great training. That's myself, like when people come to the gym and want to do the first class, I don't put people to row, especially now. We have jiu-jitsu has changed a lot. We want to give a good experience to people, and it's not about like getting this guy, oh, it's a first class, come here, do the technique and row. Not saying that this is wrong. It's not wrong, everybody does whatever they want, but we want to give the person a good experience. I want to, even though you had a good experience like that, would be even better if I had one-on-one and say, hey, come here, I'm gonna teach you this. Like you said, the shrimping, you felt out of water. And a lot of people, listen, a lot of people when they come to class and there is other people, they can't like perform the movement that people are performance, like in that moment, they get frustrated right away.
Mhm.
And that might be a no-go for the next class, or you know what, man, I think this is not for me. I can even do like one basic movement that people can do it, why I'm gonna keep going for that. But this is like from people to people, right? Like, so you did the first class and then you said, you know what, I'm gonna come back. So you came back, and then the next day, how was it, like 1 week after?
The next day.
Next day.
So after the first class, the fact that I think it was an hour and a half I was there. The fact that I was disconnected from my phone and life in general, it felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. Because when you're on the mats, that's what you're focused on. You're not
Exactly.
focused on your next text message, and you're not focused on the TV show that's coming up next. Like you're fixated on that time, and it just felt like all this stress, all this weight was lifted off my shoulders.
Definitely, I agree with that. Every time we own a match, even though I'm teaching, I'm with the like with that type of worry that I have to pass to you guys some some content, some technique or whatever. I feel great there too. Like when I'm there, I'm teaching or I'm looking to you guys. It's like great experience for me to see people finding new techniques or finding new movements that they couldn't even think that can do it. Like when people try to, oh man, I didn't know I was flexible like that. Oh, I couldn't do this. It's great feeling. And I'm sure like as a student, it's great to be there, right? Like you said, to be disconnected and just feel the moment there, right? It's a good it's a good like feeling, especially after training when you get like your ass kicked or you kick somebody ass. You just like, it's good, and then you go back to regular life after what, like lately classes would be 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. It's a pretty good time, and it's time enough to relax during the day, right? After a whole day of work or whatever stress, you go there, you take all the stress out. This is amazing. So how did this, like this first two class end up? Like after the second, third class, you felt like, man, I like this, I'm gonna keep doing this. What was the thought?
I liked it because I'm big into fitness, and I liked how I felt. Like it was a physical, um, just being there physically. Like I'm getting cardio. I feel like I'm leaning out, more flexible. But for me, the biggest thing is like the mindset.
Okay.
I felt confident. Um, you're tangled up with another human being, but you're also thinking like it's physical, but you have to think, what's my next step? Oh, he's got my neck. How do I get out of this? You're when you're at the gym, you're just lifting the dumbbells.
Exactly.
But when you're rolling, at least when you're entangled with someone else, you have to think.
Strategic,
Yeah,
right? Strategic. I get it. I get it. You really have to think, because every moment has every action there is a reaction, right? For that.
absolutely.
So we always looking for the next move to be able to proceed with whatever we have in mind to make it happen. I like jujitsu because of that too. In my like my whole time during training, I always was somebody that want to move fast, that want to be like catching people. It's not all the time that we can do that, right? We have our training partners that we know, oh, these guys, it's kind of tough, or the other guys like a little bit easier. So that's training. That's how training goes, in my opinion. But so you decide like keep training, and then how was, do you remember when was the first moment that you actually control somebody and had like the whole time controlling, and you kind of got the game, you're like, you know what, this is what I have to do, and then you start to implement, like impose your game. Do you remember that? How was the feeling?
Um, it was probably a triangle choke that I finally caught on.
Uh-huh.
So one of my first seminars, Michael Sheehan and Darson
There you
Hemming came
go.
down,
Good names.
and I was with. They came down. I think it was Michael's first seminar. I think he was a purple belt at the time,
Uh-huh.
and he was showing us the techniques and going through what he came to teach
One
us.
second, Mike Sheehan will be in the show sometime too. Okay, we're gonna call him
Amazing,
out. There you go.
absolutely. Yeah, so we he did some techniques with us, and then afterwards he asked everybody if they wanted to roll, and I immediately, I'm like, yeah, let's roll, and I didn't realize what I was getting myself into.
Uh-huh.
because I'm a white belt. Darson Hemming is a black belt, and Mike was a purple belt at the time. So I rolled with Mike, and he continuously kept getting me in triangles. He kept, I think we rolled, I don't know how many times, but he got me in a triangle choke 5 or 6 times. And he kind of looked at me and smirked. And he's like, "Do you want to know how to get out of these, or do you want to know how to stop this from happening?" I'm like, "Yes, please." So he showed me the kind of the counter and what I was doing. Like I kept both arms in, obviously.
Yeah, pull one in.
So when I finally figured out defense and what I was doing wrong,
Yeah.
I started implementing that into my own game.
Okay.
So I was starting to catch on. Okay, I one arm needs to come out, put my legs around their head, lock it in. So I kind of did that for a while, and it was just the ability to make someone else tap or submit was a weird feeling. Like it was
Uh-huh.
um, exhilarating, I guess you could say.
How long were you training when that seminar happened?
Uh, Probably 2 or 3 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So after that seminar, so that you start kind of okay, I'm gonna try this triangle choke. I got many times. I've been got on many times, and now it's my chance.
Mhm.
So
Well,
how? So you said that the feeling was kind of weird, but can you kind of explain that? Like,
it was weird in a way because you're wrestling, you're grappling with another human being, and it's not like I'm going out on the street and choking people.
exactly.
So going to a padded room with other people that are there to fight and choke each other is just a weird sensation. Like it's a weird feeling.
I get it. I like the feeling, to be honest. I like to.
Well,
I go. That's why I go there, because I like that feeling.
well, after a long day of work, when you're stressed out, people are yelling at you.
Yeah.
It's bad to say, but it's nice to take that frustration out on someone else that wants to be there and get choked or kind of fight back.
No, exactly. No, it's not that you gonna take that feeling out of doing something to somebody, because I'm sure that the other person probably has the same feeling too, right?
And
Probably thinking to, you know what, I got hammered at work today. I'm tired. I don't know. I gotta think on the next project or whatever. I'm gonna go to jiu-jitsu. At least I'm gonna get my ass kicked, and I'm not gonna think on anything. Or I'm gonna kick some ass, and I'm not gonna think in whatever else, only on training. Right? You can feel bad for that, but I kind of get it. But this is, like you said, I believe when you go to that room, everybody has that similar thought. Like after work and stuff, you go there. Everybody's looking to the stress relief. So that's why jiu-jitsu is good for many things: stress relief, self-defense, and many others, right?
oh, absolutely.
So when you got like, have you, before the seminar, have you rolled with anybody like at the level that those guys were?
No, that was I think we had one purple belt in our club, and then that was, I think, the first black belt I ever met.
Darson.
Yeah, he was the first black belt I ever met. Yeah, and first black belt I ever rolled with.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's pretty good. Darson's a good friend. I know Darson since I was white belt. He was like purple belt.
Oh wow.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like, took private with Darson, like, oh my god, a long time ago, when I was like all crazy about jiu-jitsu, nothing else on my head, nothing else, just jiu-jitsu, just jiu-jitsu. But it was good timing. So made us better, like better persons now. The time that we went through, I used to work a lot and then train, and I made that. I believe because of that, I'm here now, with Cambridge BJJ. I made all this to get to the point that I'm like managing and teaching at my own gym now. So, anyways,
It's it's
um,
like a second family. I feel like
oh yeah, for
like
sure. All the
your
people that you
BJJ
meet
family.
through it, right?
Yeah,
Do you have any friends from the other gym you still talk and stuff
not as much since the pandemic.
since the pandemic? Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't really go and see people,
Uh
and I've been kind of slacking on that.
huh.
But
I know the pandemic has made a lot of stuff to kind of stop, to be, how can I say that, like far away from us.
mhm.
Even though we are so close, we can be really close through texting, through email or whatever. We kind of far too, right? We don't see each other as much as we could before. But even though before we didn't do it, now it's even worse that we cannot at all.
It's just that personal interaction, like the face to face. That's what I miss.
Exactly. How far is Port? How's the city called again? Port
Port
what?
Elgin.
How far is it from Cambridge?
Um, just under 2 hours.
Under 2 hours. So is
Yeah.
it, where is it? West or east?
North.
North from Cambridge?
Yes, I think it's north from Cambridge.
Oh,
It's kind of near Owen Sound, Beach
oh, okay.
Garden, Saddle
Okay.
Beach.
Okay. Old Sound, I get it. We have a Judicial for Life there too. Okay. So, oh my God, these guys went far for a seminar. Huh? I'm just thinking
Uh,
here now. They went
I
far.
think I think they've come a couple of times. Like there was a couple of seminars that we hosted.
Wow. And you went through all of those?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's good. So it means you liked it. So and then you found out about triangles, you found out like how to set up, how to escape. And then when was the point that you hit that you like, okay, now I can kind of control you know, you have the point that you see some training partners and you can roll with them good and do whatever you want. Like whatever you want to apply, you can do it. Did when was like 5 months after, 6 months after, that click, you know, when you click and you say like, oh man, I can submit, I have all the submissions, not only one. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. Probably 6 months in.
Uh-huh.
It's for me. I call it the aha moment. It's like a light bulb that goes off and be like, oh, okay, I do understand this. I understand how to transition from being in closed guard or this guy's setting up for Kimura. So how am I going to get out of this?
Yes,
Like
yes.
it's slowly kind of pieced together then for me.
I get it. After 6 months, that's pretty good. Yeah, me too. I would say 5 6 months was the time when aha, I get it. You know, I had like some training partner that was like very competitive, and because of them, we I was like trying to push each other, and then that's how you become good, right? You have somebody that's like pushing you, your coach too. Whenever you have a coach that keeps helping you all the time, looking around and say, hey man, no, don't do this, do that. It's great. How was the coaching there? How was like people and the coaching there?
Fantastic. It felt like a second family. Like they
Amazing.
were very open, very welcome. Wanted they weren't. If I had a question, it wasn't like, oh, why do you have this question? They were very open and honest, and they wanted to help you grow.
Uh-huh. That's pretty good. When did you move to Cambridge?
2018.
2018. So you've been almost 2 years, 2 years in Cambridge, right?
Yeah.
So you found out Cambridge BJJ last year on beginning in February, and then we had this pandemic going around the world, and then we had to close. You kept supporting the gym. That's amazing. Like a lot of people don't understand this, but right off on the first or second month, you were one of the guys that came around and say, you know what, I'm gonna keep supporting the gym, and kept doing this throughout this whole time. I want to thank you for that too, because this is a great support. We have many other people that kept and keep, you know, supporting it. And this is a message for everybody that can listen to it. If you're part of a gym, you know, keep supporting your gym because they need you. And if not after this pandemic, not saying that you need to do this, but it's great, you know, to after the pandemic, you can go back to see the people that you train with, the people that you like, because somehow, like you said, we create a family, and it's good to go there and then see your training partner, see the people that you like to talk, see your coach, and see that everyone is doing well, right?
Mhm.
These times right now, it's like so hard for everybody. But if you can keep supporting your local gym with anything, helping them, ask them if they need any help, please do it, because they need it. As just like anybody else that needs help, the gym's owner, they need help too. I'm not talking about like the biggest gyms, you know. I'm talking about some local gyms that you there, that it's part of your life. Like you guys spend the whole time doing work, and then you know that after work you're gonna go to a place that you know been enjoying and you like it. Keep doing this because it's great. So after you realize that, whenever you start to training more and more, did you ever do any tournaments?
I signed up for the Ontario Open. I think it was in 2017,
Okay.
and I think it was a week or two before the actual tournament. We were doing competitive classes just to kind of get
Uh-huh.
our heads mentally there and just kind of um, kind of just go over some attacks and defenses and all that. And I remember I was in an arm bar and my training partner pulled too hard and it extended some muscle in my forearm.
Okay.
It kind of stretched the muscle, and I had to back out of the tournament because it was sore. I could barely move my arm. So
How
I
long?
ended up
How long
still.
before the tournament?
It was like a week or two before the tournament.
Jesus, yeah, I get
So
it.
I ended up like they were fantastic. I just explained my situation to them, and they gave me my money back. But I ended up going with my team, and I
To
paid
support,
anyway.
to
Yeah, just to
support.
support.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, my cousin was there as well, Brandon Lyons. He
Brandon,
uh, he actually trained at Toronto BJJ for a bit. He coaches at Guelph MMA. He's the no-gi coach.
Brandon. This name is not. This name is. I'm just trying to remember if I know, but
I
the
forget
name
when he trained
comes
in
to me in my.
Toronto. You might have crossed paths with him.
I think so. I think so. I'm just trying to remember. The name right away hit me, and I'm like, I'm trying to get some face here, but it just can come. But I'm gonna find out. So
But yeah,
you
he
went
was
there, yeah?
he was there too, and I was just trying to support everybody, and just it was my kind of first tournament,
Okay.
so I got to see what it was like as well.
Oh yeah, and it's a pretty good tournament.
Oh yeah, it was
Ontario Open
awesome.
was as with 6 months, exactly 6 months of jiu-jitsu. I did the Ontario Open too.
Oh nice.
I end up on third. So then when I was like, oh man, I like this, I was
Well,
like,
everyone says it's different than rolling. Like
oh,
they're like tensions are high, people are full of adrenaline. Like it's a different,
tension is high, man.
yeah, it's a different beast.
Your heart just goes crazy. The first I had on that day I had three fight. On that day I had 3 to 4 fights. I can remember. One of the moments that I can't forget on my mind is these guys attacking my foot on a straight ankle lock. I was pretty new to tournaments. I didn't know any like rules. I didn't know any of the rules, and I just remember this guy trying to crank my ankle out of my, trying to rip it off. And I was looking to him, and I was like looking to the ref. And I'm like, hey, can he do that? Can he attack my foot? I thought white belts couldn't do this. And then I remember like today, the ref, he looked to me and then he stopped the fight. He went to another referee on the table and asked about some stuff. And then he come back and say, it's all fine. Keep going. and then and then the guy tried to take my leg and I didn't tap. I remember it was like 2 minutes. He's trying to take my foot out and I didn't tap. I finished the fight. I lost my points. I was like limping a lot because it hurt as hell. And my heart, my mind, everything was, like the feeling is very different from rolling.
Mhm.
Just going to the gym and doing a regular roll, it's totally different to sign up for a tournament, get there, make weight, and then 5 minutes before your fight, you're ready to roll. It's very different. Very, very different. I hope this year, 2021, we can go as a team and maybe everybody could compete. I don't ask anybody to compete. You're gonna compete if you want, but many other people they really want, and it's nice to go as a team, right? Even to support, to go there, to scream, to try to help. It's a great feeling. I hope we can do that this year.
I want to compete at least once before I get my blue belt. That's my goal.
Definitely. I This year we had to promote a couple people. We had to promote a couple people, and I felt very, very like not sad or upset, but I would love to get them this experience before they go and be promoted to blue belt. But it was daytime. They've been training for a while. They do really good. Do the training. It's not mandatory that you have to compete to go to the next level. You don't, but it's great. It's a good opportunity. It's a great experience, and it's gonna bring your level. One step up, so you can get your next belt. It's great. I hope this year we can do that. As we know, the pandemic isn't finished yet. It's bringing us a lot of trouble. We cannot train properly. We're trying to figure out if we're gonna be back with the gym or not, when we're gonna be back. But I hope as soon as we're back, we can get back to training, start to train a little bit hard, and then make this thing happen. Go to a tournament as a team and have some fun.
Isn't the next one in Toronto June or July of this year?
Yes,
Or they're hoping so.
next gen has already put the calendar up, and we're probably gonna have like Toronto, Ottawa, Winnipeg. I think they released like 4 or 5 tournaments. If I'm not wrong, Ontario Open already released the tournament for May. I think it's
Oh
gonna be
wow.
the first tournament here. It's gonna be in May if everything ends up, going back to open. Exactly. Finger cross.
And your toes.
Exactly. Everything. Cross everything that you
Yeah.
can. So, but as for you, for like with the experience you have, what would you say to somebody that never trained jiu-jitsu? Like to give a motivation. Let's say you have a friend that been through that experience that you had, like of some street fights, and then you get knocked out, and the guy like no and have never done any martial art. What would you say? Like, man, try jiu-jitsu for what? Why?
For me, it really hit me. So after I did bar security, I became a social service worker, and I
Okay.
worked out in Chatsworth. So Chatsworth is probably 30, 40 minutes away from Port Elgin.
Okay.
And I was probably 5 or 6 months into jiu-jitsu at this time. I went to a grading and I got a stripe on my belt, and we ended up doing some self-defense. Just people coming at us. If someone like bear hugs us, if someone's got us in rear naked choke. Um, and we went through those sequences and techniques. And I saw a couple of black belts playing around with a rubber knife,
Uh-huh.
and they kind of deflecting it and moving the wrist and this and that. And I asked them if they could show me. And they're like, well, you don't need this. You don't need this yet. I'm like, well, can I just see? Like, can you just? And they're like, yeah, for sure. So they kind of show me how to deflect the wrist, move it away. And they just basically said, like, if someone has a knife on you, get out of there. Like, if you're going to try to block it, you're going to get cut regardless. So I was a social service worker at this time, and I went to go pick up a client to bring him to court. And previously, to go back even further, I took this client to an appointment. He
Okay.
wanted to go somewhere else after the appointment. Ended up grabbing my truck steering wheel and bringing me to oncoming traffic. So
Okay.
he had to obviously go to court because I had to go to the police, get him charged. So fast forward now, went to go pick him up for his court appearance, and he was frustrated because he just wanted to get it done and over with. He just wanted to go to prison. So I go to
You
his
just want to
apartment.
go to
Yeah, he just wanted to get out of the way. He knew he was going back to prison. He just wanted to get out of the way. So I go to his apartment and I open the door. I'm like, hey man, like we gotta go. Like it's time to go to your court appearance. So he's like, he pulls a knife out of his pocket and he's like, I'm gonna effing kill you.
Oh,
And at that time, I didn't freeze, but
uh-huh.
I just kind of like I was calm. I was at his doorway, and it just the scenarios went through my mind. And I just said to myself, I'm at the doorway. He can charge at me. I can close the door. I can walk away and get back into the car. I was very calm in this situation, and I just kind of worked through it and ended up verbally de-escalating him. And he ended up he didn't charge at me, but he did throw the knife, and I managed to move out of the way.
Uh-huh.
And long story short, he did go to prison. But from jujitsu, it was just I was very calm and confident.
Okay.
I'm not, again, I'm not looking for a fight, but it just when that scenario happened, I was calm. But when I got jumped, I was kind of anxious and I froze.
Oh yeah.
So I felt like jujitsu helped me be confident, be calm, and just be in the moment. Because when you're on the mats, you're defending yourself, right? People are trying to crank your arm back, trying to choke you out, trying to twist your ankle. So
Yeah.
just it felt like I was able to apply jujitsu outside of the gym.
How long you when that situation happened, you've been training a lot for already for a certain amount of time, right?
Yeah, 5 or 6 months, I think, at that time.
Okay. So this is like going back to the question means jiu-jitsu gave you more confidence, gave you more like well, how can I say that? Like more like evaluating like the situations. Jiu-jitsu gives you that spider sensor.
Yes.
Exactly.
It felt like, it's funny, but it's true. It felt like time slowed down, and I could think of my options.
Yeah,
I felt confident enough to be like, and I was just assessing the situation. Back a couple of years, I would have just kind of panicked.
exactly.
But because of
And maybe
jujitsu,
end up bad, right? Maybe you
yeah,
could have a reaction that could be stabbed or, well, we don't know what could happen, but it could end up end up bad.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure jiu-jitsu gives you a lot of confidence. Jiu-jitsu gives it like that's the most important thing, the confidence and the attitude that jiu-jitsu impose on you once you start doing this. To the people out there listen to it, it's like once you start it and keep training in the very beginning, it's like it hits you right away, right? Like you first month or 2 months, you're like, man, I can do this, and then you start to feel like I can do anything. But you don't do anything to use jiu-jitsu out of the gym. When this situation happens, that's when it actually hits you and you prepare for it, right? And that's how
Well,
you felt.
and that's what I said. I'm not looking for martial arts to look for fights. I'm looking for it so if something happens to me or my family, I can protect us. Like I
Yeah,
said, I don't want to feel vulnerable again. I don't want to feel how weak and defenseless I felt. I want to make sure that if a situation does arise, I can calmly and swiftly diffuse it.
exactly. Yeah.
And for me, so from grade 4 to grade 9, I got bullied. I was a little bit overweight. I had circular glasses that look like Harry Potter.
Uh-huh.
So I got verbally bullied from grade 4 to grade 9, and that summer I decided that I needed to make a change. Like something needed to change, and all the popular kids in high school um, worked out. They're big, these big buff guys. The girls liked them. The guys wanted to be like them.
Yeah.
So I decided to work out. Um, I begged my mom to go to the eye doctor to get contacts because I didn't want to wear glasses anymore. So I made a drastic change. I was in the gym. I was in the gym 5 days a week, probably for 2 or 3 hours, just lifting weights.
There you go. How
And
old are you at that time?
probably 16 or 17.
Uh-huh.
And
That's
because I lifted these weights, and I got bigger, I had a bit of an ego, and I assumed the bigger you are,
you
people
can
would
scare
would
people, huh?
well, exactly. And I did that, and I did that through my security experience too. Like I would roll up my sleeve to show off my biceps. I would cross my arms at the bar
And
so no one
be
messed with me.
like, there you go.
Well, and then when I went to my first jiu-jitsu class, I kind of went like, oh, like I think I went up against a guy that was probably 145, 155 pounds. And at this point, I think I was 200 pounds. And we were going to roll. And I'm like, well, I'm going to crush this guy. Well, doesn't he put me into a human pretzel? And
Uh-huh.
it kind of just, it made me step back and be like, okay, this little guy can kick my ass. And I'm 40, 50 pounds heavier than him.
That
So
doesn't
like,
matter, right?
no, it amazed me because I'm for all my life, I thought the bigger you are, that's how you get respect. That's how you get the friends. And it messed with my mental, I guess you could say.
Uh-huh.
Because I assumed if I didn't work out, no one would like me. If,
I
if
get
I
it.
didn't work out and if I wasn't big, no one would like me. But like going through jujitsu, it's helped me mentally realize that it doesn't matter how big you are.
No.
Like it just, I don't know. I don't know. It's
No,
helped
I
me
get
mentally
it.
as
I,
a
I
human.
I understand what you mean. Yes, jiu-jitsu teaches you that, right? It's and to explain that for people, it's just like sometimes we don't know to explain. It's just like, man, go try it. I'm sure you're gonna like it, right? Like just go. But with word, it's just basically jiu-jitsu gonna give you the confidence for anything else in your life that you want to do. With me, that's what gave me. Even though I'm a construction worker. I do construction, and after I've been doing jiu-jitsu, and then I started doing construction, and then I decided to go one step ahead and make my business, like construction, my own business. And then jiu-jitsu was a big part of it because it gave me the confidence. Like, man, I don't think there's not a problem to go there out there and start up like my own company and have the confidence that it's gonna work. Because there is such a hard time in jiu-jitsu and we make it work. Why we wouldn't make with nobody trying to press and to give a pressure or to fight you, right? And that's how you start to build stuff. Like, man, I can do this. If I can do whatever else, in not saying that it's 100% right, but gives you the confidence for anything else. And I
Um,
agree, and I believe on that. And I see with the students too, like you said, oh, I was bullied, and then I decided to change, I decided to work out and do this and that. And then somehow you go to do a martial art class, and all of that you did, like working out to become big and kind of scare people that you thought would be a great idea, or something to look good or cool. When you go to a class of jiu-jitsu, you get a guy that's like 160, 70 pounds less than you, skinny, and the guy just make you do rounds, make you do just go crazy, and you cannot get the guy, you cannot hold this guy. Just like, what, this guy knows something. Was he a white belt? Like the first role, the first thing that you did was another white belt?
yeah, I think he was a 3 or 4 white, striped white belt.
Stripes, yeah, a little bit more experience, right? Yeah, it's always like this. Everybody goes there, there'll be like another white belt, maybe smaller, thinner, like very skinny guy gonna roll with you, is gonna beat your ass, and then you're gonna feel like, what? I got I think the first motivation is, I'm gonna train here just to beat these guys, just to get this guy. But it is pretty much similar with everybody. Everybody has, they go to the gym. A lot of people that stick around jiu-jitsu, they like right off the first day, they keep coming. In the beginning, it's just like, I wanted to survive, and then you start to understand, to start to play the game, right? And then comes all the advantage with that, like the confidence, the mindset, under pressure, what do I do? Oh, I gotta be calm, like to take decisions, to react to stuff. And I believe a lot of those stuff already, like you just mentioned with the situation that happened to you. But going back to jiu-jitsu, how, when you start to understand like a lot about the game, and start to roll and do stuff, what was the submission that you most like?
Probably the triangle choke for a while.
Triangle.
I so when I was training, I would also be looking up YouTube videos and kind of seeing, for because everyone's body type is different,
Yeah.
and I wanted to know, for being a tall, lengthy guy, what the best submissions I should be doing or trying.
Oh.
So the number one was the triangle choke. I've
uh,
got long legs, so that was my bread and butter for the longest time.
that's good. Yeah, I really like triangle too. But in like right now, after, so you move from how to say, port what?
Port Elgin.
Port Algan. Port Algan. I'm gonna remind that. So you moved to Cambridge, and then how long were you off training?
So when I moved from Port Elgin to Cambridge, um, I think it was like a month before the move. I was training with a training partner, and I ended up falling on my head and getting concussion. So I was out for 6 to 8 months.
Holy, second concussion, right? Because you had one.
Yeah, yeah, second.
Jesus, man.
It's been fun. It's been fun. But yeah, I was out for 6 to 8 months, and my mom and my fiance were like, "You got to stop doing this. Like, you keep getting injured. Like, there's other things to do." And I'm like, "Okay, okay, okay." So the first year I was here, um, didn't really train, but I felt like something was missing.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, when I was on the mats, it just felt like I was disconnected from the world. All my problems after the class was done, I felt like the weight on my shoulders was lifted, and I just felt great, and I just felt really angry. And the gym wasn't doing it anymore. The gym was my outlet. It was my sanctuary. It just helped me de-stress after a long day, and it wasn't doing it anymore. So at the time, my cousin was training at Guelph MMA, and
Okay.
he's like, "Come on, man! Like, you got to come out. You got to come out." So I'm like, "Okay, okay." So I ended up training there for a couple months with him, but it got to the point where I'd finish work and I would just be getting to the gym as class was starting, and
Uh-huh.
it was just too much. I'm like, I can't balance this. I can't balance this. So I probably trained there for 3 or 4 months, and then I'm like, I can't train anymore. Like, it's just too much.
Couldn't make it. Uh-huh.
And then a couple months went by, and I felt um that anger in me again, and I felt so stressed, and I wasn't sleeping, and I'm like, okay, I gotta find a jiu-jitsu gym closer to myself. So I ended up Googling gyms in my area, and you guys popped up. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give you guys a try. Like, I gotta do something here.
Exactly. It's needed, right? Like once you have that feeling in, and I believe when we really like something with anything else, not only jiu-jitsu, you really want to be part of it and keep doing this, right? It's
Mhm.
like you're gonna stop, and maybe you're gonna stop for some reason in your life. You're gonna say, hey, unfortunately I can't train. Like, life's gonna hit you hard. Something can happen. You need a job, you need to focus on your job, you just got a kid, you moving. Then when you move, you gotta find another gym, and then you don't feel like very comfortable doing this because you already had your comfortables, like your comfort zone, right, like at the older gym. But yeah, I'm sure that you gotta go through some stuff. So you train already 4 months in growth, and then you find out us. I think with us, you having like no much experience because of the pandemic, unfortunately. But I'm pushing you all the time too. I'm like, hey man, let's go, man. Come show up for training. I want to see you here, and not only with you, but I always try to keep the people engaged, because I like jujitsu so much that I'm preaching all the time with jiu-jitsu. I talk about jiu-jitsu all the time. I have my construction business, and every time I talk to people, sometimes some people they see my ear and they come to, oh, do you do wrestling or something? And then I start talking about jiu-jitsu. I work a lot with my hoodies of Cambridge BJJ, and then people like, oh, you do jiu-jitsu, and then I start talking to them about it, and it's not to impress people, but it's to get people in jiu-jitsu. And
Mhm.
that's what I feel like, that's my job, to be honest. I want to get people into jiu-jitsu so the community can grow, and jiu-jitsu will be like out there for anything, and that's to be honest, that's my goal.
But especially being in the pandemic right now, I don't think people realize how, um, again, jujitsu is physical, but it's the mental aspect. Like it's so nice to have when the world's so negative and there's all this hate and stuff on social media. It's nice to go into the gym where everyone's there for the same purpose, to get better. At the end of the day, like I said, it just feels like a weight's been lifted, and you're stress free, and you don't think about the world for that hour or 45 minutes that you're there.
Exactly. Just to finish it up, like, this is a good point you mentioned. Like, lately we've been a lot here, right? Like, everything is in here. People don't look to the sides. I'm trying my best to work out on this too, especially now that, like I said, I got a construction business, I got the gym, first impression BJJ. This everything is like in the platform. You gotta be connected. You gotta be there so people can see your job, your work, or whatever. You gotta be exposed. But this brings a lot of things to your mind too, right? A lot of stress, a lot of things, and then we end up forgetting about like taking this stress out of our mind. And how do you do it? Going to the gym, training, taking the stress out by rolling, by learning some technique, by talking to your friends, by talking to the group of people that you consider like your second family. I would say that every single gym of jiu-jitsu, when you have a good group, they are part of your family too, because you there, you go, you talk, you want to know how those people are doing, you want to see those people doing well, you don't think like, oh, I want to see this guy going bad or life or whatever. But that's the idea, right? You want to see two people succeed. And this internet, this like new social media stuff that take our focus from one thing, and want to keep us looking to it, and it's like want us to be evolving there. We are not there to we're not making money. You're there, you are making money to somebody else, and through that they're like kind of making you confused here, making you stressed here. And the only thing that they give you, it's good images, good things that attracts you, because somehow they know that, right? Somehow they know what attracts you, and you're gonna be there the whole day. The idea is, let's try to take the eyes off the phone, put more physical work. Unfortunately, the pandemic right now is making that really hard, and people are going more crazy because of it. You see whatever is going on the world right now, it's like crazy, you know because of one guy say some stuff, people start to follow this and just go, oh, this is the right thing. No, no, no. I think we gotta pay attention whatever is closest. If you can preach jiu-jitsu to somebody, to people that you think it would be like jiu-jitsu would make good things on their life, like as I did on my life, and I believe it's doing on your life, because you just mentioned you want to do jiu-jitsu to take the stress out, to forget about a lot of stuff, right? And that's the whole meaning. That's why, like I mentioned earlier, I want to be preaching jiu-jitsu for a long time. I want to be teaching for a long time, and that's what makes me happy, like see people smiling after training, see people sweat after training, people relieve, like people come talk to me. I'm sure like our training partner, they come and say, man, I had a stressful day. After this training was pretty good, I'm now gonna go home and I'm ready for the next day, right? And that's what I believe. Like the wellness, is that right? Wellness,
Yeah.
that jiu-jitsu makes, on me, on my own opinion, it's amazing, so that's why I always recommend, if you want to do jiu-jitsu, try it because it's gonna bring good things for you. So I'm gonna ask you, as your last words for the episode today, what was the most thing that jiu-jitsu changed on you? The best thing that you think was like, what was that?
Probably confidence, and I'm a very anxious person, and jiu-jitsu's helped me with my anxiety.
Okay.
So it's again, you're going to a place where you don't know people. You're rolling around with them. They're attacking you. You need to defend, and it's helped me kind of slow things down, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
and just build up that confidence that, hey, I can roll with these guys. And I've done um, sports all my life. I've played soccer, hockey, basketball, football, like you name it, I've done it.
Yeah.
And jujitsu is the only one that if I get smashed on the mats that night, I know I'm going to get better. Like it's such a weird thing to think of because I'm very competitive. I like to win,
Oh
but
yeah.
when you do jujitsu, you have to change your mindset. As soon as you walk on the mats, you got to check your ego at the door,
Exactly.
and you got to realize that when you start out, you're going to get smashed, but you're going to start slowly learning things. Like it's not going to happen overnight. It's not a marathon. It's a walk.
Exactly.
You've got to
Especially
walk.
especially at the gym you train, your ego has to be outside. Everybody's friend there, and the ego is not a thing to be there, right? So
What That's why I've loved Cambridge BJJ. As soon as I walked in, I don't think I've met anybody with an ego. Everyone's
yes,
there to roll. Everyone's got a common goal. I don't feel that. I don't feel endangered. So if
uh,
I've got an injury, I know that person's not going to crank on it. So
yeah,
I'll tell them that, hey, my arm hurts. Watch my right arm. Or somebody will be like, hey, do you have any injuries before we roll? Perfect. Like let's roll.
communication is key, right? Communication is key, and this is it. Like the ego for sure has to be out of the way in many situations. So that's how we grow in jiu-jitsu. Do in the gym, no ego, because that's the place where you're gonna learn. That's the place where you have to make the mistakes there. So out of that, you can't do any mistakes. Talking about tournaments, the gym is the place where you can make all the mistakes, so you're ready to the tournament to not make mistakes. And talking about the ego, the gym is the place that you shouldn't have the ego. And whenever you go out there with tournaments or whatever, the ego is another talk, right? It's another type of talk. But yeah, man, like I really agree with you. Jiu-jitsu gives a lot of confidence to people that has no confidence, helps people with the anxiety. I think I have a bit of anxiety too, because all the time I get myself thinking a lot and out of breath. And then when I'm thinking of jiu-jitsu, I say I'm gonna go train, everything changed. I'm sure that it not only helps me or you, it helps everybody with that too. And yeah, man, that's it. I think jiu-jitsu has a lot to offer to a lot of people. If you're one of the persons that listen to it and never tried jiu-jitsu, go try it, because help me, help Matt, and can help you too. Matt, thank you very much, for the opportunity to talk to you. It was great. I hope you enjoyed too. Um, I hope I can see you sometime soon in the mat. We don't know when it's gonna happen, but man, I can't wait, to be honest. I can't wait. Oh, one thing that I want to show that too is this thing here. This figure, a friend of mine is doing this. So anybody that needs one of those should talk to Murat. His Instagram is called Muyutsu. He's producing those things. It's a very nice thing to have, like as a BJJ. How can I say that?
A keepsake.
Exactly, something that you want to have at home. You can put your name, you can put your logo or anything. Just go on Instagram and see Muyutsu. This guy's, is doing great, and it's really nice for the community. Matt, one more time, thank you very much. Go enjoy the rest of the day, and I hope to see you soon on the mats, brother.
Thank you. It was an honor. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much.